Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. First and foremost, let's just address the elephant in the room. Yes, I have a lisp, okay? I just got Invisalign. I'm on day 2. You guys can follow me on Instagram to follow my Invisalign journey. But yeah, I don't want to see any comments making fun of my lisp, okay? All right, next. Today we're going to be talking about some podcasts, including Trisha Paytas' new podcast called My Chemical Imbalance. Iconic name, Tana Mongeau's podcast canceled, James Charles getting called out, and more. But before we get into all of the tea, let me plug the Hot Tea Twitter account where you can keep up with any updates as well as send us stories that you guys want me to cover. Also, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when I post. And if you enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up and comment anything you want down below for the YouTube algorithm. All right, let's get into the tea. First things first, let's talk about our favorite Trisha Paytas. She just posted the first episode of her new podcast, My Chemical Imbalance. It's on her previously called No Talk Trishy channel where she would post ASMR mukbangs, but now it's going to be her new podcast platform. Interesting. A little disclaimer, the topics her podcast covers are focused on mental health, mental disorders, and trauma, so if that triggers anybody, here is your warning. Trisha started off by saying that she is not a mental health professional. She's just talking as someone who is dealing with mental issues.
I am doing this podcast. I don't even know how long it's going to last. I guess as long as it takes to talk about all my mental health issues from childhood to now and ongoing, and they only keep multiplying, it seems, the older I get. So this is a mental illness podcast. I am not a psychiatrist or a therapist.
She mentioned that she is in therapy and she is also taking medication and in treatment groups. Trisha said that she hopes this podcast can help people who are struggling with any mental health issues. She even said in her opinion, everyone has some mental struggles, which I think that we can all agree on. Trisha continues to talk about the things that she is dealing with being non-binary, having borderline personality disorder, and schizophrenia. Side note, we've addressed this before, but Trisha has said that she is okay with she, her pronouns. So that's what we use here. In the podcast, she mentions she's okay with she, her, as she is aware that online she presents herself as more feminine / a woman. So just so we're clear on the pronouns, here is Trisha confirming this.
You guys don't know, I'm non-binary. My pronouns are he, him, she, her, they, them. I prefer they, them. I'm fine with she, her, as I'm often female presenting. I'm also male presenting at times.
Moving on, Trisha gives a timeline of her mental struggles all the way back from her early childhood. Then she has been misdiagnosed several times throughout her life. Trisha then talks about times where she's been hospitalized. She mentioned a few instances where she doesn't recall her behavior. For example, the incident where she crashed her car into Jason's house. From then, Trisha talks about her sex work and compares it to the regular jobs that she's done. She said she made a conscious choice when she was younger and doesn't necessarily connect her mental issues with her choice of work, but also draws some parallels on her choices when she was younger. Next, Trisha went over other compulsive behavior that she's aware of, like previous drug abuse, her shopping addiction.
Other impulses and risky behaviors. I am a compulsive shopper. I am absolutely addicted to shopping. My house is always a hoarder's mess. Like it takes a lot to have me get rid of stuff.
And she talks about being put on medication and how previously it has messed her up. She mentioned the Free Britney situation and then even her career in sex work, specifically OnlyFans. She briefly explained that OnlyFans has allowed her to express her hypersexuality in a safer way, and she completely supports people who have an OnlyFans because it's safer than going into other forms of sex work.
And sell their sexuality on their own terms, on safe terms, and reaping all the benefits and the money from it. I have absolutely no issue with it. I still have an OnlyFans. I do a lot of solo content and I post a lot of provocative pictures and videos on there, and I truly love it, and it is my biggest source of income.
Trisha then mentioned that she is pretty numb to hate and she doesn't see the difference between criticism and hate at this point. I feel like this is a comment directly at all the backlash that she got recently over the frenemies breakup. It seems like Trisha is still not over it, and
criticism and hate always sound the same to me now. They all blur together. So
later on, Trisha talks about how her schizophrenia hallucinations have been triggered by people in her life deceiving her reality, and this I think we can all figure out who it could be towards. Our other favorite, Gabby Hanna. Trisha is probably talking about multiple instances, and not only with Gabby, but come on, this one's obvious.
Now, when someone gives me a distorted sense of reality, I've noticed that my schizophrenic hallucinations become a lot more vivid.
Moving on from that, Trisha explained further on about her triggers and the symptoms that she experiences. Due to this being a sensitive topic, we're not gonna get too into it. Normally, I wouldn't give Trisha a view, but if you want more details, check out the episode. Trisha also shares a bit of her experience in mental facilities. She talked about her negative experiences and so on. Then she shares a story of a woman that she met in one of the mental hospitals that she was in. Trisha said that the story stuck with her and made her feel bad that more isn't done in mental health care. She shared a few other instances where she disliked the way that she was treated while hospitalized, feeling unsafe because of the staff. Trisha said it gave her PTSD and she just didn't feel good. Moving on, Trisha her thoughts on older men dating younger women. Now, we know that this is probably related to Keemstar recently showing the internet that he has a 20-year-old girlfriend when he is like 38, 39. We talked about the little feud Trisha had against him on that topic. Other people like Ethan Klein also shared their thoughts on this. Basically, a lot of people came for Keemstar for dating a younger woman. Now, Trisha and Ethan both have their beef and drama with Keem. However, we know Trisha has spoken both on Frenemies and her own platforms about being in the same situation in her early adulthood, dating mature men in their 40s and 50s. Trisha talked about the power dynamic between younger people dating more mature people. She mentioned that the older person usually has power over the younger one, whether it would be money, connections, and whatnot. Trisha gave herself as an example to how those types of relationships have caused her issues, and she thinks younger girls dating older men, it's just a lot to handle for those young women.
And then also dealing with the issues of like kids and ex-wives and stuff like that. That's also a lot to handle for a young girl.
She added that the younger a person is, they may think that they are emotionally mature, but in reality, they just aren't. Other topics that she covered were controlling her emotions and continued to talk more in detail about schizophrenia and borderline personality disorder. Trisha also talked more about therapy and what things have helped her to be more stable. And at what point she mentions apologies and how she thinks she is pretty good at them.
The one thing I can give myself a pat on the back for is apologizing.
I'm sorry, what? Trisha, sweetie, your apologies have been terrible. Each and every one of them. Every time you think Trisha is trying to be genuine and give out a good apology when she's messed up, shortly after she changes her mind and takes her apology back, or she deletes it, or she contradicts herself. Most people are used to her addressing her controversies. People don't take her apologies seriously and joke about how she is gonna take back her apology or mess it up again, which sounds bad, but it's just true. Next, Trisha spoke about holding people accountable. She said that she personally has grown a lot due to being held accountable and wants to take accountability for everything that she does. Which, good, I guess, but then again, how many times has she actually taken accountability for her action? Not a lot of times, that's for sure.
And people who aren't getting held accountable or who are not taking, getting, slaps on the wrist or getting, marks or whatever for being shitty people will never grow.
She ends off the video by saying her mental health has improved since doing more therapy, taking medications, and so on. Good for you, Trish. She said mental health is important and she thinks she has more things to process and learn. Trisha also added that she wants to keep a discussion about mental health. Overall, people seem to like the podcast. There were a lot of supportive comments. People are interested in what Trisha has to say, and it looks like Trisha is being quite mature and calm in that video, so hopefully she keeps it up. People were generally positive in the comments, being like, thank you, Trish, for talking about this. Welcome back to the podcast platform. I loved this. Thank you for sharing. This was low-key entertaining and personal and safe feeling at the same time.
Hey guys, Ray's editor here. I'm here to give you a quick update because Trisha decided to post not one, but two different episodes of two different podcasts. She posted a new episode of Enemies where she talked about Shane Dawson, Ethan Klein, Jeffree Star, and Keemstar. And also, she's getting sued, but this will be for later because it's hilarious. She talked about people moving out of LA. A lot of influencers recently have been getting away from the LA scene. For example, Shane Dawson, Jeffree Star, and others. She says she feels good about the negative energy moving away. And then she mentions Austin McBroom and his scandals. She shared her thoughts on that. And she said if there are enough stories where he is exposed for cheating, maybe something is going on. And then she expressed her thoughts on kids on YouTube as well.
Putting these kids, in these situations and positions that are probably not natural. It's probably somewhat staged or You know, and regardless if this is just their natural, they're just doing fine. You know, there is scandal and controversy, and I think with anybody in scandal and controversy, they remove themselves from the internet, or they give the internet some time to kind of cool off, but instead they keep posting.
She commented on the baby scandal and how people should be allowed to grow and change, but it takes time, and she doesn't believe that somebody can switch their opinion so fast. And then she briefly mentioned Gabby Hanna. She expressed her thoughts on being on medication in combination with smoking weed. Trisha shared in her experience, it's not really fun to mix those two. And finally, Trisha is getting sued. She received a defamation lawsuit from, guess who? Drumroll please. Onision. Yes, that's right.
Okay, I was like,
So, it's the same wording as Ray's lawsuit. The Hati channel and Trisha Paytas have one thing in common. I mean, Trisha literally called him up.
that's called grooming. That's straight up grooming. You took in a 15-year-old and housed her and groomed her for years, taking care of her, being her bestie, all of this stuff. And then when she turned 18, you had sex with her. You are a groomer.
She said that he's trash and gross, and she said that he has to be deplatformed. And I didn't think that I would agree with something that Trisha Paytas said, but it's 2021. Times are changing. So there's that.
Moving on, let's talk about Tana Mongoose's new podcast episode. So they talked about a few things. Some of the topics were Tana getting hate, Tana's new stalker, some ex drama, and a few other stories, but Tana spilled some tea on Jason Ash. Well, kind of. One of the topics that they talked about on the podcast was Tana's new stalker. She said that they've upped the security recently because of a letter that she received at her front door, and she said that they have footage of somebody leaving the note. And here is a clip of her reading the letter.
Letter to Tana Moshe. Hello, gorgeous. This is a secret letter from your biggest lover, who also happens to have a large social media following.
The stalker wrote that they have a huge online following and that they are friends with the previous owner of the house. They also wrote a riddle asking, what is old but acts young? And I don't know if you guys are thinking what I'm thinking, but Tana's living in David Dobrik's old house. Her and Brooke immediately said, oh my god, is it Jason Nash?
Jason Nash. I was just gonna say Jason Nash. I swear to God.
Can you imagine this being a prank by David and Jason? It sounds like something they would do for a vlog. And lastly, Tana and Brooke laughed at the stalker wanting an Instagram shout out. Does he even know how much your promos cost?
All signs point to Jason Nash. Post on a story and tag me if you know who this is. Dash your secret lover.
I mean, if Tana wants to promote him, it better be paid. Get that bag, girl. Now let's talk about James Charles. We haven't mentioned him in a while, but this time it's for something less serious for once. It's really petty, but whatever, let's just get into it. So about a month ago, James posted a video reacting to TikTok makeup hacks. One of the videos that he's reacting to is of a girl doing eyeliner with both of her hands in a few seconds at a time. It's pretty impressive, actually. Coming from a person who can barely do eyeliner with my steady hand, it's really impressive. So James is looking at the video and he's like, wait a minute, let me clock the girl over here. He thinks she cheated her way or scammed the viewers, which is funny because he's been called out for something like that before, like Facetune makeup so it looks better, stealing looks, etc.
Okay, you know what I'm noticing though? I'm gonna clock the girl over here. When she cuts like the final clip where she has the full makeup look on, looks stunning, by the way. It's different eyeliner. She did not keep on the same eyeliner that she did her little 1-2 swipe with. Gotcha, good gal. See, we're already one video in, we're already to the scamming artistry of it all.
And a few days ago, the girl responded to him. She does not seem happy. She was rolling her eyes in the video. She said that there is a tutorial on her page about that look in particular. The girl explained that she didn't cheat. She used the lines that she made with her two hands at once as a base, and then she touched up where the lines needed it. Basically, she filled in where it was needed and just did it off camera. After that, a bunch of people went to his YouTube video and went off on him. Someone doesn't understand how transitions on TikTok work, huh? The first hack she does, keep the same eyeliner, she just filled it in. You're literally the last person to be able to talk about artistry scamming James. Someone else said, James Charles, just because you're a fraud doesn't mean everyone else is. So, I don't know, apologize and tag her next time. People then went to her page and called her a clout chaser. I don't think this was clout chasing necessarily, like he called her a scammer and she just wanted to defend herself. She wrote, also, I've seen some people claiming I'm clout chasing. Well, yes, I deserve something I didn't even get a tag. It's my content, LMAO. And lastly, let's talk about Austin McBroom. He's been in some hot water lately. People have been exposing him left and right, possibly losing his house and so much more. The first piece of tea that we have on him is that Taylor Holder is suing him. It was alleged recently, but it is confirmed now. Taylor posted this on Twitter, including screenshots of the lawsuit document saying, "It's public now. We trained hard and fought hard. A lot of people didn't get paid, including our coaches. We won't stop fighting. For now, my attorney, Bobby Samini, has filed a lawsuit to make things right. We held up our end of the deal and expect the same in return from Social Glove. I'm curious to know, will other people who were involved in the fights be suing Austin and his company, especially Bryce Hall, since, their fight was so hyped. He's probably pissed if he hasn't received his paycheck." But the juicier situation is Jeff Wittick calling out Austin on his recent episode. One of the crew members who works on the Jeff FM podcast shared a story of his little sister trying to sell Austin her cookies, but he refused to buy them. So basically, she was with her mom selling the cookies at Rodeo Drive, and Austin was there filming a video, throwing money, and they asked his bodyguard if he would want to purchase cookies. They told them no, he doesn't want any, and Jeff, while listening to the story, couldn't fathom why he wouldn't buy her cookies. It's fine if you don't want to buy, but why would you literally show off your wealth and throw money in the air and not get a box of cookies of a 10-year-old to help out?
Sweet little Maya here, 10-year-old, starting her own business. He said no, he didn't want to contribute a single dollar for any of the cookies. And this
Which
YouTuber,
is okay, but I mean, when you turn around, they just throw money for like
and then
anybody.
he started throwing money, like for his video, he started throwing money around.
It's weird that someone who's getting sued is throwing money in the air like he doesn't care, and at the same time he can't buy $2 cookies. Plus the fact that he also has kids, you'd think he'd know that kids get upset easily, and probably the girl felt bad seeing him throw money like that. Oh, and Jeff mentioned that he wants to fight Austin. Of course, he was like, "I've been working out, the paychecks are nice unless they come from Austin." And Jeff finished it off by saying he's going to buy all of the cookies and use the power of cookies to knock out Justin. Can you imagine that? Jeff turning into the Cookie Monster punching Austin? I'd pay to see that.
Heard it, Austin. I'm getting revenge of the Girl Scout cookies. You're a beat, you're a loser, and you can't even buy some cookies. I'm a sweet little girl. I'm trying to start a business. When I get my hands on you, I'm gonna knock your teeth out. I'm gonna eat all these cookies tonight.
And that's all the tea that we have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about Trisha's podcast, Jeff beating Austin as the Cookie Monster, Jason Nash being Tanas Stalker, allegedly. I don't know, comment your thoughts down below. I really hope that you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I post new videos every single day. Bye bye.